Dandava Pranam Maharaj, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranam Maharaj, Dandava Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandava Pranam Devi.
Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam, Pecha Prabhu Maharaj. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm good, Prabhu. Always happy when you're here.
Yes, very happy to see to you and devotee.
And Uma Devi.
Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranam Maharaj.
See her. And Didi. And Bhagavati Didi and Priyadarshana Didi. And I see him down there, Lakshmi.
He's devota.
Okay, so we start with Vandana.
Yes, Maharaj.
Vandeham Shri
Guru Sri Chaitanya
Shri
Guru Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Pada Maharaja Jnana Salvakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Mahabhavaitaya Sada
Purvavista Supurakam. Purvavista Supurakam. Guru Vaishnava Shambhoshitam. Chintya Samastadana. Shirupa Pantaloka. O Vindavidam Maratano. Bhaktyam Vidam Sunara. Mande Vidwa Guru
Bhagavata Premino Nidija Pradamna
Deva
Yatanam Chandravadana Malaka Chelana Chittam
Paranam
Varanam Vairagya Vidya Buddha
Siddhanta Nidhi Sulaki Lasitam
Saraswat Vandetam Bhagavad Charanam Sridhara
Shri Siddhanta
Saraswati
Saraswati
Namo
Gaurakisoraya Gaurani Padmavaya
Vande
Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura-Shakti-Swarupakam Bhakti Sastraya Raga-Rasta-Sudamini Gaura-Raja-Sita-Sesai Vaishnava-Gauriham
Jagannatha Prabhu Bunde
Prema
Prema
Viga
Viga
Vaishnava
Vaishnava
Vancha
Vancha
Kalpatarubhyacha
Kalpatarubhavacha
Kripa
Kripa Sindhu
Sindhubhyev
Vacha
Patitana
Patitana
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo
Namo
Namaha.
Namaha
Panchatattva
Panchatattva Krishna
Bhakta
Bhakta
Rupa
Rupa
Sarupakam
Sarupakam
Bhaktavatara
Bhaktavatara Bhaktivyam
Namami
Namami
Bhakta
Bhaktavatara
Namo
Namo
Mahavajaya
Mahavajanya
Krishna
Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Name Gaura
Jayatam
Jayatam Sulagopanyo Namandana Kirgati Matsarvatva Parambojo Radha Madhava
Mohano Divya
Jagandamaya Kulpadrumadya Srimadratnagara Simha Sri Gandharva Kirila Govinda Deva Prestade Swaram
Sriman
Sriman
Rasakasami,
Rasa Rasa Payo
Mansi
Sri Sitaha
Kansamenu
Kansanvena
Swamir
Swayanir
Gopi,
Gopi
Gopinaya Riyestuna,
Vrindaya
Vrindaya Tulasi Deviyai, Priyaya
Kesavachita
Kesavadyacha, Krishna
Krishna
Bhakti
Bhakti
Prade
Prade
Devi,
Devi
Satyavayai
Satyavati
Namo
Namo
Namaha.
Namaha
Adhanatva mantra
Mantra
guru,
Guru Guru
Guru
Bhagavata
Bhagavatam
Sadam
Talam,
Vyasan
Vyasam
Jagat
Jaga
Guru
Guru
Nato
Namba,
Tato
Tato
Jayamati
Yayo Muiraje,
Jaya
Jaya
Jasa
Sapadikara
Parikara
Saparikara
Sisi
Sisi
Guru
Guru
Gauranga
Gauranga
Gandharva
Gandharva
Govinda Sundar
Govinda
Palam
Sundar Pala
Panja
Padmana
Jasu,
Jayasu
Sri Krishna
Sri Krishna
Chaitanya, Prabhu
Chaitanya Prabhu
Nityananda,
Nityananda
Siddhartha
Advaita
Gadadhara,
Gadadhara
Srivasadi Gaura
Srivastava
Bhakta
Gaura
Vrinda, Hare
Bhaktavrinda
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna, Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare,
Hare
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 Ramo, Hare
Rama
Ramo,
Hare
Ramo
Rama Rama
Ramo, Hare
Rama Hare
Hare.
Hare
Rama Rama Hare Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shakta Maharaj, Ki Jai.
Jai,
Baba Giri Govardhana Ki Jai.
Jai, Jai,
Bhaktivinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Praise the assembled devotees. All glories to the worldwide devotees. For Premanand Hari Hari.
Hari Hari
Hare
Om.
Hare Bol
Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Jai,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Ah, Shri Prapanna-jivanamrtam ki Jai. Srila Chayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Asatana Satashi Sripad Bhakti Rakshak Dev Goswami Maharaja ki Jai. Shri Shri
Jai
Prapanna-jivanamrtam ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai
We're reading from, let's see, chapter 9, huh? Words of Nectar from the Supreme Lord. Text number 15. Chapter 9, text 15. O Parishat Parushasya Sri Krishnasya Yogi Janamrigam Nikila Chid Achin Nityan Tritvan Sarvasya Chaham Mridi Shani Visto Atas Matirgyanam Hapohanam Cha Vedaishta Sarvairaham Eva Vedyo Vedanta Krid Veda Vedeva Chaham. From the Bhagavad Gita. So encompassing Sarvasya, all, huh? Encompassing the aggregate individuality and collectivity, the absolute autocracy over both The material and spiritual planes is held by Krishna, Sri Krishna alone, the supreme male dominating principle, as corroborated in the Upanishads, and he is the objective sought after by the yogis. So I am situated, the translation of the verse is, I am situated as the Supreme Lord within the hearts of all souls. Riddhi, Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi. Riddhi means hearts, Sannivishta, I am situated with the hearts of all souls. As a result of a soul's worldly deeds, his remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness come from me alone. Thus, I am not only Brahman, the absolute spirit that pervades the universe, but above that, I am the super soul present in the hearts of the living beings who dispenses the results of their attempts. And even above my worshipable aspects of Brahman and Paramatma, I am the Guru of all souls, the eternal dispenser of their good fortune. I am all the Vedas. I am the creator and perfect knower of all the.
I am Bhagavan.
Huh? What did you say? Oh, sorry. I am Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to be known by all the Vedas, and I am the creator and perfect knower of all the axiomatic conclusions of the Vedas, Vedanta. Oh, a big verse, a lot of things. All of that in one verse, huh? Sarvasya Chaham. Now, who talks like that? Can any ordinary man say that? Would any man dare say that? Sarvasya Chaham. Huh? Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi Shanivista. I am situated in everyone's heart. Krishna is saying that to Arjun. Dhanavad, Linda Didi.
And about Maharaj, sorry I'm a bit late. Chores I had to do.
Huh?
Chores.
Hare Krishna. So we're reading.
Hare Krishna.
We're reading. How are you doing? Okay.
Yes, thank you. You good?
Yes, we're okay. So Krishna is saying here in chapter 9, text 15 of the Prapanna-jivanamrtam. We can show this verse in Sanskrit. So Krishna is saying here, Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi Shani Visto now. Sarvasva. Sarva, you know that in Sanskrit, sarva, you know that sarva means all. And Chaham. Chaham means cha and aham. Aham means I. And cha means also. So Sarvasya Chaham. I am also Riddhi in the heart. Shani Visto. I'm in the heart of everyone. Huh? I was just saying that who talks like that? Can any ordinary man talk like that? So that's can any ordinary man talk? No. But Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he can say something like that. We would expect that Krishna could say something like that. We would not expect any ordinary man to speak like that. But Krishna, we would expect he could say, I am situated in everyone's heart. I am in everyone's heart. Even a very famous person was honored by so many people that they would never think of saying something like that. I'm in everyone's heart. I'm in all your hearts. But Krishna can say that. And then he says also something quite amazing. He says, Ataksmatir Jnanam Apahanam cha. So this smriti means remembrance, jnana means knowledge, and apahana means forgetfulness. And he's saying, I am the source of your knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness according to your activities. Ananda Krishna Bhu, Dandavats.
Dandavat, Maharaj, Dandavat devotees.
I am situated in everyone's heart, and for me, he's saying, that, how does he say it here? I'm the eternal dispenser. As a result of the soul's worldly deeds, his remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness come from me alone. As a result of their activities, of their deeds, Krishna is saying, then I'm giving them knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So it's not without any reason he's giving knowledge and remembrance, forgetfulness. There's a reason, there's a cause. It's connected to what we do with our activities in this world. We will get this knowledge. The more activities we do that are not connected with Krishna, we may get some worldly knowledge. We'll learn how to deal with money, to get some technical skill or whatever. Be socially successful, politically successful, whatever. According to the effort we're putting into some worldly endeavor, Krishna will give us some knowledge how to do that. Or we will gain some experience or whatever. And even our knowledge, our remembrance, our forgetfulness of those things, how some people become very adept at so many materially oriented activities, proclivities. So Krishna is giving us that success, that ability through our endeavors. But it also means that if we can direct our activities, if we can direct our interests, we can direct our desires toward Krishna, he will also give us the knowledge and forgetfulness of our self-interest, remembrance of himself. All these things will come in our endeavor to satisfy, to serve Krishna. And that is coming through his grace. Either way, whichever way we decide to go, he is the source of our ability to progress in any direction. He explains that also in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye yata mam prapadyante. As they surrender to me, I reciprocally relate to them or reward them. So the direction of our life, the abilities in our life, whatever it may be there, our knowledge, the things we don't put our interest in or say forget, these are all coming from the activities we are engaged in by Krishna's arrangement. We may think we are doing things on our own by our own abilities, but those abilities are not coming from us. They're coming from Krishna, coming from the Lord. And of course, that requires a great deal of insight. And that's also a kind of knowledge, that insight as to how Krishna is doing this, giving us these things, or we are doing them on our own account. That would require a discrimination to understand how that is possible. How it can't just be our own endeavors that we're getting these things. There has to be some source by which these things are coming. And as one becomes wiser, as one becomes benedicted with transcendental knowledge, then they can begin to understand where all these things are coming from. Srithira Jnanam Apohanam. Where all these remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness are coming from. Scientists have been looking for where memory is a very interesting phenomenon. They've been looking all over the body and all over the brain for where memory comes from, where memory is stored, how it is stored. They haven't been able to find it. There's no special place in the brain for memory, although they can probe the brain and cause memories to come out and forgotten again, remembered and forgotten. But they can't figure out where that is coming from. And not like a little pouch in your brain where you have all your memories, and not the brain. I was watching a video this morning about a bird brain, the birds, how intelligent they are. The scientists are beginning to realize how intelligent these birds are, little birds, with their little heads. They can imitate, some birds can imitate so many different sounds. One bird was imitating all the sounds of the forest. It means all the other birds' sounds he was making. Hundreds of different sounds. And not only that, but he was also started imitating the sounds of the what do they call them? The people who cut down the trees.
Lumberjacks.
Lumberjacks, huh? He was even imitating the sound of the chainsaw of the lumberjacks. How a little bird was able to do all that. The little brain. Where was that coming from? Where's that ability coming from? Not there in the brain. It couldn't be. The brain is not even half the size, quarter of the size, a fraction of the size of the human brain. And the human brain doesn't even remember all the things that little bird brain does. Would have a hard time. So where's that coming from? And here Krishna is saying, and not a mystery that can be solved by analyzing the material ingredients. Knowledge. How is knowledge produced? You can think by reading a book or hearing somebody else speak. But that knowledge, to know, that's something that the human being is superior to other creatures and having that ability. Although the other creatures, the non-human creatures, they have some ability to know also, but not knowledge as the human beings have. We haven't seen any other creatures writing books except for human beings. Huh? Have you? Can Lakshmi write a book? No. But a human being can have knowledge and communicate that knowledge to others. And that is not just an ordinary thing, an ordinary chemical reaction or a physical part of the brain that's doing that. These things have a transcendental source, a transcendental meaning. And the human beings are able to tap into those things and develop their lives and improve their lives by those things. And understand God, the highest thing that knowledge can do for us is to help us to understand what is God. See, a human being can understand things like God, the soul, or even the world. What is that? The world, we easily understand that we're living in a world. But animals don't get that far. They don't understand they're living in a world or a universe. They only understand the little world that they're connected with in their immediate environment.
Sachin sent the message.
Huh?
Sachin sent the message saying he can't come today.
He's going to come?
He can't come today.
Animals can only relate to the immediate part of nature that they come in contact with. But they don't have a conception of the world, that they're living in a world, because that is something beyond our immediate contact. The sense contact is only coming in touch with a part of nature. But to understand that there's a part of nature that we're not in contact with, and that we all belong in that thing we call a world, that is something the animal never reaches. Just like you can understand you are part of a country, Spain, and you might identify yourself with being Spanish or whatever country you may be in, American, British, or wherever. You identify with that country. Animals don't know the difference between this country and that country. They only know the immediate environment in which they live. And to extend it beyond that requires a kind of an abstract thinking, which the human beings are capable of. So they are the ones who can understand world. They can understand something like soul or the self, and they can understand God. That is the special ability of the human human form of life. So we must not neglect, cultivate that higher form of thinking, that higher form of knowledge that is there, available for the human being. Srila Prabhupada would often tell that this human form of life is very valuable because we can understand such things which is not available to the other forms of life. If we do not make the effort, take the time to cultivate those things, then we're just living an animal's existence, not understanding those greater things. We just live an animal existence, only interacting with what is immediately or before us or around us, and having no other hint of anything else besides that. Anyhow, so Krishna is giving Arjuna a chance to meditate on this, to understand this. Explain to him what that greater conception is, and to raise himself to that greater conception of existence, of life, and of action. So he can understand his proper identity, and he can understand properly what his duty is, what his occupation is, dharma. Krishna is going through all 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's attempt to explain what is what from the highest perspective, the most inclusive perspective, and not only from an immediate perspective. Arjuna was worried about how I can fight with my relatives, my teachers, my cousins, all family members, and all friends, and the whole society at that time. How he can deal with that. And Krishna was telling him, those are minor things. Those are superficial things. Those are only immediate existences. But there's something more than that. And in relating to me, you're getting into that more. I am the source of all of that.
There's one question.
What's that?
What happens to the knowledge that we gain when the body dies?
That's not yours. That knowledge is not yours, ever. That's what Krishna is saying. And not your knowledge. He is giving that to you. It's always his. I remember Prabhupada when he would write his books, he would tell us that I have not written these books. They're not my knowledge. I am reading my own books so I can learn something from them myself, because it is Krishna's knowledge. He is speaking through me, and I'm just saying somehow the words. By Krishna's arrangement, here's the transcendental, or the transparent, via medium, through which the words of the Supreme Lord are coming into this world, to the conditioned souls. So that knowledge is never ours. What to speak of when we die. And it depends on our our good works, our good activities, our proper behavior, all these things by which Krishna awards knowledge, make it available to the living entity. So we don't have to worry when we die what happens with that knowledge. It's always there. And if we remain situated in that proper position, where Krishna reveals himself to a devotee, then he never loses that. He'll never lose that connection. Sat-cit-ananda, and not within our grasp. That is the reality of the world that we live in. The highest reality of the world that we live in is not in us. We are in it. We are living in knowledge. We are living in the chit potency. And therefore, it is in us, but not in us as the owners. It's only in us as permeating us. That belongs to him. And then Guru Maharaj also, in his translation, explains that Krishna is saying, I am not only Brahman, the all-pervading spirit in everything, but I'm also all-accommodating spirit that includes everything, but I am also the super soul that pervades everything, that is in everything. There are three conceptions, you see. There's Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahman means accommodating, that space, that container in which all is included. That's Brahman, the all-containing Brahman, all accommodating. Everything is coming as its place in Brahman. He said, that's one aspect of me, the all-accommodating Brahman. He said, but another aspect of me is my all-pervading. Not only are you in me, but I am in you. To be in Brahman, in the container, that's one thing. But to pervade it is for Krishna to be in us. So we are in Brahman, and Krishna is in us as Paramatma. And then what about Bhagavan? If Brahman is all accommodating and Paramatma is all pervading, then what is Bhagavan? Bhagavan is all attractive. He is the all attractive. So is the all accommodating, he is the all pervading, and he is the all attractive. That is Bhagavan, highest concept. That includes everything and more. So even above my aspects of Brahman and Paramatma, I am the guru or dispenser of good fortune. Acharya mam vijanayat. If we understand this knowledge properly, we will understand Guru is also not giving us his knowledge. Not his knowledge. That knowledge that's coming from Krishna through Guru. Acharya mam vijanayat. I am the Acharya. Acharya is just the means, the speaker You know, when you have a speaker in your computer, the speaker's not producing the noise. It's producing the noise, but it's not talking to you. The talk that's the sound vibration of the talk that's coming through the speaker, that talk is not being created by the speaker, by that box. There's somebody else who's talking. And that speaker is vibrating according to that talker's sound, the person who is talking. But if you look at the speaker and you think that little box, is that box talking to you? No. Not like that. So Guru is just like the box. Of course, a very special box because he's attuned to what Krishna is saying and not just any ordinary talker. He's attuned to the knowledge that is coming from the absolute plane. And that is coming through the speaker. That is Guru. And that is Krishna. Giving you all good news and proper knowledge, proper adjustment, proper concept. If we can take all of that in and try to realize that, try to apply that, and remember that at every moment of our lives, then in that way we can raise ourselves up to the platform of Krishna consciousness. And not be entangled in the world of material existence. And in that same verse, he says, that Vedais to sarvar aham eva Vedya. Vedais, Veda means Veda. To sarvar aham, I am, aham, again he's saying I. I am Vedya, the knower of the Veda. I am the knower of the Veda, Vedanta Krid, I'm the writer of the Veda, and Veda Vid, I am to be known by the Vedas. Don't mistake it, the Vedas to be some old books. Krishna says, I am the Veda. Again, that knowledge that is written down in the Veda, of course, it's written down by different sages. But we have to understand if we can conceive properly what Krishna is saying here about the origin of knowledge, we'll realize that the sages are only the conveyors of knowledge. They're not producers of it. Now, of course, depending on the person who is conveying that knowledge, how much their consciousness, their activities, everything, their proper attitude is adjusted purely and cleanly, then they will be able to convey those things also properly and clearly. But sometimes they become, conditioned by the environment and the influences of the persons of that time, of that era. So we find in the Vedas, for instance, things about how to make sacrifices, build altars, and sacrifice animals and things like that. At a particular time in history when they were written, those things had their application. But they don't have their application all the time. Yet there are certain principles, which he calls their axiomatic principles. They have eternal significance. And these things that are conditioned to according to time and place and circumstance, they may only apply at certain times according to the mentality of the people of that time. But they don't apply all the time. And we talked, I think, last week about axioms. What does it mean to say axiomatic principle? I think another way to understand clearly what axiom means, when you talk about the axiom of the axis of a circle, of a sphere, the axis of a sphere, a solid sphere, the axis is the line that runs right through the center of the sphere. That's axis. And I don't know what the word is in Spanish, but that line that goes to the center of the sphere is called the axis, around which the whole sphere is turning. The Earth, all the planets actually, have an axis around which they're turning. It's called rotating. When a wheel rotates, it has an axis, a center, around which it rotates. Similarly, the Earth is rotating, and it has an axis, therefore. And all the planets actually are rotating. Not only are they rotating on their axis, but they're also revolving. They're revolving around the sun. They rotating their own sphere, and then that rotation goes around the sun. Two motions, two circular motions are there. So that axis is also referring to axiom. That place on which everything else is centered.
AJ.
Not AJ, just the center of all activities.
No, in Spanish.
What is it?
AJ.
AJ?
Axis en español es AJ.
AJ.
Sí, pero ella es rechazar, rechazo.
El mundo.
Rotación. Rotación.
Rotación, yes. Rotating.
Rotation.
Rotation.
The point that it rotates around them, right?
So that axis is a very strange thing, you see. Axis is where everything else is rotating around that. That's the central point. And everything else moves according to that central. But that central point doesn't move. When you rotate the ball around, everything is moving, but the axis stays still. Axis is still. Everything else is rotating around it. So a rotating sphere is a contradiction. It's something that stands still and moves at the same time. It has both motions in it. It has stillness and it has motion. Both. Of course, not when you rotate something, the axis always doesn't stand still. Sometimes the axis will also move around. But I'm saying in an ideal situation, the axis is still and the rest of it is moving. So you have a contradiction of a spinning sphere of stillness and activity and restlessness. Anyhow, that axis is what is stable, what is the principle, what is the basis for the movement of everything around it. That is axiomatic. Axiomatic means something like that. That is the stable point around which everything else is revolved.
Thank you for clarifying that.
So I know Sripad uses this word many times, axiomatic. So to understand what that is, axiomatic, fundamental, upon which everything else is based.
Maharaj, axiomatic is the true, no necessary demonstration. No, axiomatic is true. No, the true, no demonstration. Yeah, or no?
Yes, in a sense, that's true. That's the starting point, the presumption, the foundation. Just like we were mentioning last week about Euclid geometry. There are certain axioms that he states, and they must be true in order for geometry, the rules of geometry, to follow. But those initial axioms can be proven. They have to be accepted. And from there, then we can develop geometry.
The sacred geometry.
Huh?
The sacred geometry.
What do you say?
Sacred geometry.
Sacred geometry. Yes. Sacred geometry, any kind of geometry. Euclidean geometry will be based on Euclid's axioms. Sacred geometry is based on Krishna's axioms.
Yeah.
So this verse is something that only Krishna could say. Who can ever talk like that? I am the Vedas. I am the writer of the Vedas. I'm the knower of the Vedas. By the Vedas I am, who in this world could say like that? No one. Only God. Only Krishna. Anyone else who claims such things, they would have to be God themselves. But we have not seen, I don't know, maybe there are people who think that they are God. And they and they say things like this. But to be truly God, they would have to be, have these qualities, have these characteristics. A very marvelous verse. Sarvasya chaham ridishani vishta, matasmiti jnanam apohanancha, Vedaisya sarvar aham eva vedyo, Vedanta krid veda videva chaham. I'm just saying the Sanskrit. I think now I just got the one verse today. I think we'll go to the next verse next week. Anyone have anything they'd like to say? If you have the remaining few minutes we have. Okay.
Maharaj, only little is the very philosopher think about the world or universe, but for example, Nietzsche or Kant or Sartre, pero for example, Sartre your ideal is no spiritual idea. Sartre or other philosopher ideas is deep materialist, no spiritual. Occidental philosopher all very materialist. For me, it's good. Socrates, antique Socrates, Pythagoras, Platon, it is more substantial teaching for this philosopher Greek.
Yes, the philosophers don't have complete knowledge. They have some, they have been given some knowledge, but not complete knowledge. But sometimes some knowledge is dangerous. They have a little knowledge. That can be dangerous because you think you have a little knowledge and you think, I know everything. But it's only a little. But that could be misleading because a little knowledge, like for instance, if you get some knowledge from a book, right? And in the book it says, or say you're reading a novel, a book, a story, and you read the book, and on the page it says, and she killed her husband. Then you think the person who killed her husband is a murderess. She's a murderess. But then if you read the whole book, you'll find out that she's not a murderer. Her husband was trying to kill her. And she had to kill him back so that he wouldn't kill her. And it was self-defense. It wasn't murder. So just to read a little bit, to know a little bit about things, that can be dangerous because it makes you get the wrong impression, give you the wrong idea. But if you read it in the full context of the whole thing, then we will see a different picture. So that's what the philosophers are doing. They only have a little hint of things. But because they don't understand it properly in the context of the whole, then it becomes a dangerous thing, a misleading thing. And it becomes a kind of ignorance, a blocking people from knowing the truth. So philosophers are finite beings, and they have finite knowledge. And that is not what we want or what we need. We need the whole truth and nothing but the truth. The knowledge of the whole, the organic whole. That is coming from Krishna. And that is coming from Guru. The whole thing. That includes up to Krishna. If we leave that part out, then we get misled. And that's the nature of the finite knower. Finite knower doesn't include Krishna. He only includes his limited experiences. And therefore it's out of context. He takes it out of context. Proper context means in relationship to the organic whole. in relationship to Krishna. And whatever is not understood in that way, that can be misleading. And they give the example of that elephant, huh? The elephant and the blind man, you know? Huh? He's touching the leg, and because he doesn't know the whole thing, he thinks it's a tree trunk. It feels like a trunk of a tree. Why? Because he doesn't know the whole thing. He's blind. He's blind to the whole. And he can only experience the part. So what does he do? He gives us the wrong idea. Huh? He has the wrong idea as a tree trunk. Another one will say, no, it's a brick wall. Another one will say, no, it's a rope. Huh? And they're all touching just a limited part of the thing without seeing the whole picture. And therefore they get it all wrong. They get it all wrong. So unless we include the whole, the organic whole, then we can never know the actual truth of what we're experiencing in our limited lives. Our limited experience is a part of that whole. And if we don't connect that limited experience with the whole, then we're misled. Huh? We get a wrong idea.
Philosophy, vision limited.
Ah,
For that, wrong. For vision limited.
Limited is wrong because it doesn't connect with the whole. Has no connection with the whole of things. Therefore, it can be misleading if you think it's the whole truth, but it's only a partial truth. Yes, the elephant leg does feel like a trunk of a tree. That's true, but it's not a tree trunk. So if we want to know the truth, we have to get to the whole. And the whole truth, the organic truth, that comes from the whole personality. Om Purnam. Om Purnam Mada Purnamida. And Upanishad, Isha Upanishad. Om Purnam. The Purnam means the whole, the organic whole. Do you know that verse? Om Purnam Mada Purnamidam. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya. Purnameva Vasishyate. And the Sri Isha Upanishad mentions that. That Krishna is the Purnam, the whole. And from him everything is coming. All other wholes are coming. So who doesn't know that, they cannot give us whole knowledge. They cannot give us complete knowledge. They can only give us partial truth, and that can mislead us. Jai Gaur Hari Bol. Right.
Very nice. Very nice, Maharaj. Thank you.
Dhanyavad Prabhu. Dhanyavad.
Haribol. Haribol.
Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You be well, be safe, be happy in service.